My name is Aki Tanaka, and that's a Japanese name. I'm Japanese Canadian, and my pronouns are she, her, and I am right now in Oakville, and I can't do the land acknowledgement off the top of my head, even though I would like to. And but I know we're in the territory of the Mississaugas of the First Credit.
Okay. So what brought you into the climate movement? So in other words, what is your climate why?
Well, I am a gardener, a lifelong gardener. I think I started as a kid, and I've been interested in native plants for decades. I've been gardening with native plants for decades, and I'm gradually refining my knowledge in terms of, North American native, Canadian native, Ontario native, and finally now I'm settling on Halton and Peel region native, and I'm trying to create a list specifically for Oakville. And when I retired, I was looking for a way to get involved in the environmental movement in Oakville. And I tried working with two other environmental groups, and I did a bit of work for them for a while. And then I decided, okay, one of my friends who I had worked with um, in my paid working life, she had trained with Al Gore in Mississippi, I think it was in 2015, maybe something like that. So she encouraged me to go to the training. And I decided, okay, I'm just going to go and see what I can learn and find out. And it's just exploded since then, actually, because I am retired, I have time, and I'm involved in all kinds of climate action as well as biodiversity, trying to increase biodiversity in my own yard, in other people's yards, and other places in Oakville. And it seems to me now, uh, the possibilities are endless because the climate crisis is so wide, deep, broad, all-encompassing that you can do almost anything. And I want to encourage people to do those kind of things because I have been very fortunate in my life, and I feel like I have an obligation to make this place a better place than to leave this place better than when I than it is now, so that it will benefit all living things on this planet.
That's a really beautiful answer. Thank you. That was really inspiring. And I think we'll definitely quote that because that's a great quote to inspire others to act. So amazing. So you kind of answered this question already, but how long have you been a climate reality leader, and what motivated you to apply for the training? So I'm assuming you said your friend who did the training kind of inspired you, but how long?
Yeah. So I did my training in 2019 in Atlanta, and yeah, I think there were a lot of things leading up to it, but one was there really wasn't a climate focus in Oakville. Well, there was, but it wasn't based on advocacy and action. So that's why I decided to take the training, and then when Al Gore asked you to do these acts of leadership, I started with the strike. So I trained in, I think, the spring of 2019. I held the strike in front of Town Hall, Oakville Town Hall, in 2009, in the fall of that year, September. So it was the same day that Greta was in Montreal, and I decided, okay, I'm just going to organize. I tried to organize for months before, actually, trying to get people involved, and then I thought, okay, this isn't working. I'll just do it myself. So I had gone up to meet some climate leaders in Halton Hills, which is in the region of Halton. And, Jane Fogel and Janet Duval at the time had given me some advice. So I continued and I thought, okay, well, I'll just have as many people as I have. And I had a table and I had some sign up sheets and, things like that. But just before I held the strike, um, people started giving me advice about what to do, or I found out about 350.org and I put the details on that website, and then people started to respond. And on the day of, I had about 150 people, and I had people helping me the whole time. I mean, one of my friends came from Burlington, and I gave him the sign up sheets, and I told them to go around and get contact information. And then a group from Erin showed up with the climate song and song sheets. So they taught me how to sing the song, and so we did, and we chanted, and then my MP, Anita Anand, who I am cultivating a relationship with, she showed up on that day and told me, you got to do something with all this energy and all these people. So, I decided, okay, well, we can march like 20 feet over there and back. And while we did, we chanted, and somebody took a video of that. And so the whole thing really started there. And then I started doing presentations using Al Gore's very, very high quality slides, videos. And I did a number of presentations, about 15, like not very good ones, until we got to March of 2020. And so just before that, I had given a presentation, and I was finally getting response from people asking me to do presentations instead of the other way around, where I was like begging them to come to my presentations. And then I had a couple of really big ones lined up in 2020, and then everything just kind of fell apart with COVID. And now I find I don't have a need to do those presentations anymore, because, fortunately, the conventional media reports on climate every single day. I read about it. I listen to the news about half an hour a day, every single day. And then the weather, particularly this year with the fires in Canada, and then the terrible weather disasters all around the world, are being reported on, and people are actually saying on TV that this, or wherever, that this is a result of human action, or the human impact on the world. So that part of my job, I think, is being done. So now what I try to do is just engage with people personally, and use, I have that Facebook group, and I have an Instagram account, and I use that kind of as a message board to tell people what's going on and what they can do. So I try to focus in my posts on local action and positive things, not devastating news all the time, because there's lots and lots of that. And certainly when I went to Al Gore's presentation in 2019, I think the first third was done.
Yeah.
And it didn't turn positive. I mean, the presentation was about 2 or 3 hours long, and I mean, we were all engrossed by it, but it got to be a bit much. So I find that too much bad news just discourages everybody.
Yeah.
You just get, and then there are lots of people suffering from eco anxiety, and all kinds of things like that. So and I've been warned not to talk to children too much about, under the age of about 8 or 9, about climate, but just concentrate on getting out into nature and seeing all the beautiful things that you can see there. So yeah, I've just kept learning since 2019, and it's been great because I meet all kinds of other people who are really bright and motivated, and I figure out where I should put my money, where I should donate, where I should participate, and yeah, I think it's great. It's really great. So I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. I am optimistic. There are lots of people that try and bring whatever I say down, even within the climate um, movement. There are lots of people trying to protect their territory. There are all these various political things going on, but I'm hopeful. I really am. And I'm not going to stop anytime soon. So, because I know I'm in it for the long run, and yeah, I mean, I thought about going and mentoring again or mentoring, just to get that energy that I need to keep going, from Al Gore, from Climate Reality Canada, from wherever. But I'm not sure that I really need to now.
That's awesome, though. What is the most challenging part of your advocacy work, and how has the Leadership Core training or the Climate Reality Network helped you overcome this challenge, if at all?
I think the biggest challenge is just to stay motivated and focused on and figure out where you're going to have, for yourself, the greatest impact. Because I mean, as climate reality leaders, we do a lot of volunteer work. And after a while, that gets tiresome because you're not being, rewarded monetarily or otherwise. Well, maybe in other ways you are, but so you have to be careful to recognize that you're in it for the long run. It's not a short-term thing. And how are you going to keep yourself motivated and focused to do what you really want to do instead of what everybody else wants you to do? And the so the training has helped me in that it gives me legitimacy. Like, I use that business card template. I had business cards printed up, and I can put all my qualifications on there, including that I'm trained as an engineer and I've maintained that professional status, so I pay for that. That I have trained with Al Gore, because everybody knows his name, 2019 in Atlanta. And then on the other side, I'm just in the midst of redesigning the business cards. On the other side, I'm going to put the fact that I'm a David Suzuki butterfly way ranger. And then I just hand them out wherever I go, or ask people to take pictures of a card or whatever, so that I can keep in touch with people and I can inspire them to, join the Facebook group, the Instagram, and then use those as platforms. So I find, like, having everyone in Canada knows who David Suzuki is. Everybody across the world knows who Al Gore is. So that just adds like legitimacy, because if I tell them to do something, Aki Tanaka, resident of Oakville, there's very little motivation to do anything. But if I tell them, wait a minute, I was trained with Al Gore. I've got David Suzuki signs. I've got, plants. I've got whatever, that adds legitimacy to my work. And I'm getting better now at bartering. So, if I do this for you, will you do this for me? Will you help me design my business card, or will you print it, or will you donate to Climate Reality? Because I have had people come up to me and said, I would like to donate. And I say, well, go to Climate Reality Canada or wherever, or go to David Suzuki Foundation and give them some money, or buy me 2 bags of organic soil, so that I can continue my work. And, there's lots of things to share, because I'm a seed collector and I propagate plants in my backyard. And, I I try to investigate opportunities for me to invest my money in things like TerraCycle and things like Lithium Cycle, which was founded by a guy who went to school in Oakville. It's now on the US NASDAQ exchange, stuff like that. So there's lots of opportunity to further the work
Yeah.
by, yeah, just by being curious and maintaining, like I know I have to go to the gym all the time and all that kind of stuff, right? So, you have to sleep, eat properly. You've got to, take care of your family relationships. I don't intend to get divorced or, anything like that due to my activities. I've got an elderly mother to look after. So, there's lots and lots of demands on my time, but I feel that, if I can take care of the other things in an appropriate way, then I have energy left for whatever I want to do.
So the final question here is, what is your favorite part of the climate work that you do, and what motivates you to continue?
My favorite part is probably just engaging with people individually because, um, it's not just about me. It's so interesting to meet other people, find out what they're doing, what their personal lives are like, what they're struggling with, because we all have baggage. We're all dealing with whatever's in our background, whatever we're dealing with at the time. Whether it be like for me now, it's like elderly parents. My mother-in-law is also not doing well. My mother's fine, but my mother-in-law is declining rapidly mentally, and needs some supports there. And but to find out what other people are like, one of my colleagues, she's now moved to New Brunswick, but she used to be active in Oakville in climate and many other things. And when I talked with her at the beginning, she told me she was Palestinian. And I said to her, like, the most interesting thing you've actually told me today is that you are Palestinian. Let's talk about that. And she talked about, her Palestinian roots, and her grandmother was still there, and all the struggles that the Palestinian people have been through. And then I went to at least one of her events, and I met my climate friends there. And yeah, it's just amazing that these people I meet, they're dedicated on so many other fronts. Like, so the fellow that was at the Palestinian, it was we were lighting candles for Palestinian children, and it turns out that he is a former preacher, and he's active in the climate movement. We've become friends, and I nominated him for a Community Spirit Award, and he won, and not won, but he was recognized. And yeah, you just meet, and then through him, I met other people in the Council of Canadians, and they want all kinds of great things. I mean, pharmacare and affordable housing and climate and healthcare, and then these people, we go places together, and we do actions together. We delegate at town council, regional council, and yeah, it's so inspiring to see what everybody else is doing, in spite of all the things that they're dealing with.
Yeah, it's the sense of community that you find when you do work in the climate movement. It's really
Yeah.
interesting, yeah.
Hmm. And my mentor from Climate Reality, Todd Barsanti, he lives in Burlington, so he's not far away. And then some of the guys I trained with, they live in Burlington, and I'm in touch with them, and they've one guy put in a boulevard native plant thing that I designed, and I told the others, like, I've got the plants for you. Just get in touch with me. I'll come to your place, look at it, and I know that they have solar panels on their roof, and they're just very, Sheridan College itself is like a gem in Oakville with respect to the way they use energy. I've been there and had a tour and yeah, and met people there who are really committed. That Sheridan's got this um, zero, what's it called? It's not called zero waste, but
Nuts.
anyway, it's a whole program. And Sheridan, they should be celebrated, and yet, they're not. But, these are all things that will come to pass in time.
Yeah, that's amazing though. It seems like you're also an inspiration for the people that you work with. So thank you for
Yeah, I hope so. And yeah, I think we're all in it together. So yeah, yeah.
cool. Sounds great. Well, thank you so much for your time today. It was lovely to get to know you and hear about your work.
Yes, yes. And I
Yeah,
hope we'll stay in touch and that I see you in person sometime.
yeah,
And yeah, you're welcome. Like I said, you're welcome to come. I got plants for you too.